A very good afternoon, everyone, from somewhere in Africa, more specifically along the western coast of Africa. I'm currently in Ghana, and as you rightly said, I'm the group manager responsible for trade and value chain. We'll start with a few comments about the Ecobank group and what we stand for, and then try and link it to our Elevate program and why it's important to us. As we've already shared, Ecobank is a Pan-African bank, which is committed to the regional integration of the African continent. And it's important that we support economic development across Africa, because unlike some other banks, in Ecobank, we believe our strategy is Africa. This is home. We have nowhere else to go. You would realize that we have presence in over 33 countries. We are resilient. We stay even when there's, economic strife, famine, conflicts. Just to give a few examples, 15, 20 years ago, when there was a civil war in Liberia, we were there, we never left. We are in East Africa, Southern Africa, even countries that may not look profitable to other banks. We've always stayed there because this is home. And we always say Africa is our strategy. Dovetailing into the main purpose of our discussion, I wanted to start by sharing a few, facts about women and access to finance. I think we've already mentioned that 50% of Africa's population is made up of women. And then, 1 in 4 female adults in Africa starts or manages a business, making Africa one of the world's highest in terms of women entrepreneurs, okay? Another fact is that SMEs generally account for up to 90% of all businesses in Africa. And the case is the same in Uganda. I think I looked it up from the Ugandan Investment Authority, and per information from the Ugandan Investment Authority, 90% of all businesses are SMEs. In Uganda, in particular, 38% of all businesses are owned by women, which is very high. I think it's one of the highest in the world. The average is 1/3, which is probably 33. Uganda is 38. My belief is that even as we speak, you probably crossed the 40% mark. Now, with all this, focus on women, we also realize that there's a big financing gap when it comes to SMEs, 42 billion across Africa, with 15.6 billion of this amount specifically attributable to agriculture. And this is especially important for the case of Uganda because agriculture is your mainstay, is your most significant contributor to GDP. Now, where does the financing female come into all this, puzzle of information? Where we see value as Ecobank is the fact that research has shown that women invest up to 90% of their incomes into their families and communities. And this is outstanding. Maybe we should all give a small clap for our women. Unfortunately, the men like myself usually keep more of their money for personal stuff, I guess. But it's obvious from these statistics that, once you support women to create sustainable livelihoods, you are, by extension, impacting the community and stimulating economic growth for the country and for Africa as a whole. And that's why at Ecobank, we believe that our goal of positively contributing to the economic and financial integration will be further strengthened if we focus specifically on women. Okay, So our value proposition under Elevate is that we want to bridge some of the identified challenges that women faced. So, and our proposition will offer women businesses an end-to-end partnership, which lets them access both financial and non-financial services. And for us, this is the game changer. You know, there may be other propositions from other finance institutions that would target giving loans to women, which would probably satisfy the financial side of things. But this is a 360, encompassing solution that we've put together. We will train you, we'll support you along the way, we'll hold hands with you in trying to create, sustainable livelihoods for our women. Okay, so that's our value proposition and the Elevate. And in the subsequent slides, we will see what our proposal is to exactly achieve this. Now, who qualifies for Elevate and what is Elevate? Okay, like I have already mentioned, Ecobank seeks to impact communities through the Elevate program, and qualification for Elevate is under 4 main pillars: entrepreneurship, leadership in women, employment of women, and consumption. Okay, I'll spend a bit of time to try and explain how these come together to let our women qualify under Elevate financing program. So the first pillar, which is entrepreneurship, is that if you have a business that is more than 50% owned by women or a woman, or it was founded by a woman, you automatically qualify for Elevate. Okay, so you have a business that does, buying and selling, cosmetics, handbags. You could even be involved in an activity that is specifically, for only men. But because you're a woman or you're a woman entrepreneur, you qualify under our Elevate program. The second criteria is leadership. And under leadership, what we say is that we want to see 20% share of women on the board. I mean, that's if it's a larger company and you have a board, or at least 20% women in management. And when we say management, it doesn't have to be a big institution. So if it's a family business and you do it with your husband and, for example, your sister, then you qualify, because then between yourself being a woman and your sister, you exceed the 20%. Even if it's between yourself and your husband, and you have an active say in how the business is run, then you qualify under leadership. Basically, we want to try and empower women in the decision-making process of our businesses. Qualification and employment is pretty simple, and that is if you have a business that employs 30% or more women in your business. So you're a dressmaker, you're a fashion designer, and you have women who work for you in your small business. So I'll try to give an example. There are 5 of them working for you. So you have 2 males and 3 females, automatically you qualify. Okay. So once you can demonstrate that you are giving equal employment opportunities to women, you qualify under Elevate. Consumption, which is my favorite, because that's where women, have a chance. So under consumption, basically what it tries to define is that if you are engaged in a business activity that manufactures or markets products that are focused for women, you qualify. Okay, so basically I'll try and explain that a bit more. You could be a man, but be engaged in the selling of jewelry to women, or cosmetics, which is mainly used by women, or handbags or slippers, shoes. Once it's predominantly female-focused business, you qualify for Elevate. Okay, so I think between these 5 pillars, I think most businesses find a way to, qualify and empower our women, in helping us to meet our agenda of impacting our communities by creating sustainable livelihoods for our women across Africa. Okay, so how do we support Elevate? We have a product suite where we list both financial and non-financial support. Under financial support, we have a myriad of cash management solutions. We'll go into a bit more into detail in the next slide. We also have digital solutions and collection platforms. I think the importance of digital solutions has been emphasized. During COVID, people prefer to be what they say contactless. So we have a myriad of digital solutions. I think Ecobank is one of the banks that invested heavily in the past 5 years in digital solutions, and it served us very well during the pandemic and even post-pandemic Africa. The key advantage on the financial services for under Elevate is that we have favorable lending rates for qualifying clients. And what that means is that if, for example, the interest rate for taking a loan at Ecobank Uganda is 20% or 25% or 23%, depending on which product you are trying to access, because you're an Elevate client, that interest rate would be reduced anywhere between 50 to 150 basis points. So if it's 20%, you may enjoy 19 or 18.5, depending on which product you are accessing. So I would encourage everyone to who qualifies to go to your nearest Ecobank branch and make inquiries about how you can take advantage of our financial solution. But for me, the cherry on top, which is what makes me really happy, is the non-financial support we are attaching to the Elevate program. And under the non-financial support, we aim to train, MSMEs through what we call the Ecobank MSME Academy. It's a virtual academy that has been set up to run training programs that support the various sectors that MSMEs are involved in. And later on, I'll give you an example of what we are currently. It covers areas, so it could be agribusiness this month. In 2 months' time, it could be on startup business and what the risks are and how to manage your business. The following month, it could be on cash flows and how to put your books or prepare a loan from a. And all these interventions are aimed at helping our women MSMEs have easier access to credit, and also help us meet the bigger, agenda of impacting our communities, our countries, and Africa at large. Also, one of the key non-financial supports that we have under Elevate is providing access to markets through what we call an online presence. So Google I'm sure a few of you know about Google My Business, so that if anybody goes to Google Maps and wants to, search for where to eat, your restaurant will probably come up because Ecobank has supported you to pin it on Google Maps. Additionally, it will give you opportunity to meet other people who are engaged in your trade so that you can learn from them, and also, expose you to marketing opportunities, both within your country, in this case, Uganda, if you are involved in the production of agri-products and you were, previously limited to only selling to in your local district, you could explore, you could meet people on our networking hubs where you'd be able to sell it to other people in Uganda and even across borders. So that's the 360 approach I was talking about, and I think that is what is unique to the Elevate program. Going a bit more into details on our financial services, we have bespoke cash management and collection solutions as part of our offering, and we have what we call the business current account. The business current accounts are tailor-made accounts that speak to your line of business. So there are various account options that would accommodate how you trade. So if your offering is that a lot of people come in there and they use mobile money, or they use POS, or they use scanning QR code, etc., we have a solution that is best suited for that. If your business is such that for now you collect more physical cash, and therefore you want to be able to collect it and then deposit it at what we call an express point, there's a product for that. So I encourage everybody here again to contact your nearest Ecobank branch and make more inquiries about how to open the right account that suits your business. Obviously, we have an online banking solution, OmniLite, where you can make payments. So for larger businesses that need to pay salaries from the comfort of your home, I know Uganda is on lockdown now, but I'm sure people still want to, get paid. You can do that on the comfort of your home via OmniLite. If you need to pay for any services as a business, you can also do that through our OmniLite application. I already mentioned the QR code, which is an interactive and contactless way of paying for goods and services at the various business outlets. POS, we are all familiar with. We also provide POS solutions across our business, for our businesses, sorry. Now, I know what a lot of people will be interested in is, what do I get from Ecobank? And so I'll talk about our liability and loan products. Under Elevate, we have favorable, rates for savings and investments, all trying to, promote, financial inclusion for women. We also have bespoke products that speak to the specific needs of women. We finance what we call stock and inventory under the Elevate program. And indeed, Africa is it's a buying and selling continent. That's what I call it. And so almost everybody is involved in some form of buying and selling. And what we have as a solution under stock and inventory, fits that billing. But of course, don't say you heard it from me, but under Elevate, you would enjoy preferential pricing under stock and inventory financing. Also, we do what we call contract and receivables financing, or LPO financing. And here I'll probably cite an example of the agricultural value chain. So if we want to finance the agricultural value chain, we have solutions that would impact both from the farm gate, the small the small farmer who does it on the personal or family level, all the way to the aggregator who aggregates from the small farmer, to the what I call the mega aggregator who has silos and stores it, and then finally to the off-taker, whether it's a multinational or it's the government, where all along the value chain we have solutions that are targeted to these people. And also, we must not forget another critical service provider, which is transport. So along that value chain, the maize or the wheat or the whatever commodity it is has to move, from the farm to the city center to another country, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll also finance if you have, for example, a contract to supply X tons of maize or wheat to a specific location. Once you're able to prove that you've been awarded a contract to do so, and under Elevate, I want to emphasize that the terms of lending with regards to the interest rate and pricing are reduced, all in an effort to support women. Now, we just want to make the point that Elevate is not a static product, okay? And that the Elevate proposition will evolve as the business dynamics evolve, and that we are ultimately interested in being a long-term partner to create sustainable livelihoods for our women across Africa. Okay. Our value-added services, I'll just spend a few minutes here, even as we finish the presentation. I already mentioned that we had training programs through our MSME Academy. We have it generally in we have two faculties that we run. One for high-end or larger SMEs, where they are a bit more structured, and we've partnered with global business schools, which includes some Ivy League schools. I wouldn't want to mention their names here, but you would get certification after going through Ecobank leadership training and certification program. And I'm sure everybody would want to, the business executives who are present here would want to get certification from a Yale or a Harvard or an Oxford, etc., etc. Then to satisfy the lower end of the market, which is very critical, we have what we call the virtual SME bootcamp, where, as I mentioned, we have solutions that cover things like financial planning, business management, preparing to access loans, and also, liaise with the local, support services. So if it's agric, we would liaise with agric extension officers in your country to provide, support, even as we provide financing to help, boost your yield, et cetera, et cetera. And like I mentioned earlier, the added benefit is that we will create a pool of mentors across African continent, where ladies and women can look up to and learn, the strengths of the trade. I mean, there's always a shortcut to achieving success. I always say it's always better to consult somebody who's charted that particular path. And we believe that when women meet and they interact, they will share their experiences, and it will go a long way into shortening the learning curves for those that are coming up. Okay, finally, we wanted to mention the benefit of creating a marketplace where you could access and also market your goods and services. The last slide basically talks about some of the initiatives we've already done or we are in the process of doing, and how this, we believe, is impacting our communities. The first one is what we call the AUDA-NEPAD program. AUDA-NEPAD is the development finance arm of the African Union, and we've partnered with them under their 100,000 MSMEs initiative. We are providing training for financing across 8 countries initially. As I speak to you, I think they finished the first 2 modules that deals with risk management for SMEs and then also financial planning. At the end of the program, which is scheduled for 4 weeks, we will then grant loans totaling $2 million to them. Uganda wasn't one of the first 8 countries, but I believe I've seen your name. I'll confirm to you. I'm not too sure whether you're in the next 8 or the 3rd batch, but we are coming to Uganda, definitely. And this emphasizes our journey and our proposition. We don't want to just, give you the money and then leave you and come, chasing you our money back when things go wrong. So we'll give you the support, the training, before advancing the funds to you. And even as you grow your business, we'll stay in touch. We'll provide advisory services from experts. And that's what, the Elevate program stands for. Our second intervention is what we call the Zero Malaria Business Leadership Initiatives. And that is taking advantage of regional presence across Africa to drive, corporate Africa to contribute to eradicating malaria, because, malaria, now there's COVID, there was HIV, but malaria still kills a lot of people across the continent. And we've launched it in a couple of countries, Burkina Faso, Benin, Senegal, and we've been able to raise a sizable amount, $360,000, that has been pledged for malaria eradication activities. Some of the mobile networks, including MTN, have come along in some of the countries in disseminating information on malaria to create awareness. The initiative is being expanded, and on this one, as you can see from my slide, Uganda is in the next phase. So we'll be coming to touch lives in Uganda, and so watch out. Okay, so I would want to end here. In the interest of time, I think we would take more questions. The idea is to take more questions than give a lecture or a speech. And so I want to thank everybody for your attention, and I'll hand over to the moderator. Thank you.